Well, this is how my day's going. My baby. So, after just a little bit of troubleshooting, we got the battery on the charger in the garage. This is our problem. The main fuse. So this 75 amp fuse, it's blown. So as you guys saw, the car broke. This is the problem. It's the 75 amp main fuse. I just went to AutoZone and they don't carry it. So that's awesome, and no one else carries it. So I had to order it off Amazon. It's gonna get here Saturday and today is Wednesday. I remembered that my 240 has this identical fuse in it, so I'm gonna steal it from there. But before I do that, I wanted to test out and make sure that we're not shorting anywhere, because I still don't know what caused this to blow. The main fuse goes right here. I tested each of these pins to the ground wire to see if we were getting a short there, and we have no continuity between there, which is good. That's what we want. So it appears that we're not shorting to ground, but for some reason we pulled too many amps and we blew the fuse. I have no idea what it could be. We just installed the Viper alarm on the car. I installed it a couple days ago and we haven't had any issues with it yet. I can't help but feel like it's related to this. So we're going to take the other fuse out of the 240 and we're going to put it in, because we know it's not shorting to ground. So as soon as we put the battery back in, it shouldn't blow immediately. Then I have to figure out what's going on. We might have to upgrade the fuse, maybe go a little bit higher. It's at 75 amps because the alternator for stock RB is 80 amp. Well, this LS1 alternator is 140 amps, so we might bump the fuse up. I don't think that would affect anything else. I believe the fuse rating is only because of the alternator rating, so I don't think that we would have any issues going to a higher fuse, because this alternator puts out more. Usually when you upgrade things that have higher outputs, you also upgrade the fuse. I'm just real nervous about throwing the 240 fuse in, but at this point, if we can't get the car running until Saturday, it just is what it is. That's not the end of the world. It would just suck because then both my 240 and my Skyline are both down. So I got the fuse out of the 240. 240 is sort of in the air. All the suspension and everything's taken apart. Changing the bushings on that. That video's still in the works. It's taking way longer than I thought it would. Here's the fuse. Install it there. Cool. And here's the battery. I tested it. It's at like 12.3 volts or something like that, so it's plenty enough to start. Fingers crossed that it doesn't blow immediately. So right now the battery's in and our fuse has not blown yet. I'm going to start the car and we're going to see how it goes. I'm extremely nervous right now. Okay, it's alive. The fuse hasn't blown. Our radio's on. We now have these lights on. The cluster's now working, which it wasn't before. Obviously, our alarm system is working. It's just so sketchy, like why did it? Okay, and the lights are on because of the remote start. So if we put the key in and we turn the remote start off, turn the key to on, turn the remote start off. No, our brake light's on. I think that's our problem. Something's up with these brake lights. So this plug right here, that is for our brake pedal switch. Right there is our actual switch, because before the switch wasn't working at all. Now it seems to be working all the time. So we're going to pull it off and we're going to test it out and test continuity on it and see if it's just stuck in the closed position to where it's always having the lights on. So here's the switch. We pulled it off. All you have to do is just loosen this nut and then the whole switch will come out. The way to test this switch is you do a continuity test. Then this is a normally closed switch, meaning when the button is not being pressed, the contact is closed between these two wires, so it's sending power through one and out the other. When you're not pressing the brake pedal, the pedal comes back and it pushes this button in, which breaks the circuit, so there's no connection there. The way to test that is to do a continuity test. So right now we're getting continuity because the button is not getting pressed in, so that's good. And then when you push it in, no continuity, which is good. So the switch itself is actually fine. Probably backed off, and when the brake pedal was pushed forward, it wasn't pushing this in enough and it wasn't breaking the connection. That's most likely what's happening. So we're going to throw this back in and we're going to adjust it to where it's sitting closer to the pedal, so the brake pedal pushes it in all the way and it breaks the circuit and our lights stay off. So you can see we put the switch back in and we adjusted it so where the brake pedal is actually resting on it, which is where it should be. And let's just hook the battery back up. And now, with no one in the car, our lights are off. That's what we want. I'm going to push the brake now, and the brake light should come on, and then when I take my foot off the pedal, they should turn off. When it happened, I thought that maybe my alarm was the problem, so I actually started taking apart the interior while I was waiting for the tow truck. And I unplugged everything while I was waiting and didn't change anything, but I also didn't test that fuse. It just wasn't on my mind. I wasn't thinking that it was a blown fuse. I was just thinking like, why did this just happen? It has to have been something alarm related because I literally put this in 2 days ago. Turns out it wasn't. It was a stupid brake pedal switch. Just gonna throw the interior back together and then we're all good to go. All right, we got the battery all strapped down. Got the interior all put back together. One last test I want to do. So I want to do the remote start and then I want to take a reading at the battery, see what kind of voltage we're getting, make sure the alternator is still working. Here we go. So it's on. We don't have the battery light on. We just have the door open and that one is the e-brake. So now let's meter the battery and see what kind of voltage we're getting. So as you guys just saw, we were getting 14.0 volts, which is good. That's where it should be. It should be anywhere between like mid 13s to like 14.3, maybe 14.5. I think 15, anything higher than that is kind of dangerous. Typically, you're going to be between 13.5 and 14.5, and we're pretty much right in the middle. So we are. So that's great. So now, one thing that I think that I should do, which would be smart, I should get LED bulbs for the back. I don't like the LED R32 taillights. In my opinion, it's too modern for this body style. I'm just not really digging it, but just regular LED bulbs in the stock housings, I'm open to that. They'll be brighter and they won't use as much power, which would be perfect. And then once we get the GTR wing, this is gonna go anyways. I just need to find an OEM one that isn't overpriced. All the reasonably priced ones are like need so much work done to them. I still can't get over this hood. Saibon, you make such a good hood. The fitment is good too. So it kind of goes without saying, but honestly, I'm very relieved to have fixed. I mean, hopefully, like, this could have just been one of those things where it's like semi-fixed and we fixed one problem, but there's a bigger problem underlying that we can't find yet because it hasn't shown itself. That's what happened with the R32 when it turned out to be the gas tank was rusty and blocking our fuel lines. Placed so much stuff and we ended up having to clean the gas tank with toilet bowl cleaner. I'm gonna have a link in the description for all my Nissan boys to get the fuses. I would suggest get at least one spare because the main fuse is the main fuse. Like, everything goes through that fuse. So that's why I had no windows, no cluster, no lights, no radio, nothing. So hopefully you guys never have to deal with that issue, but you always got to be prepared. I have 2 fuses coming. I don't know when the upgrade's going to happen, so I'm going to keep at least one spare in the R32 just in case. And we still have to replace the fuse that we stole from the 240. But that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you did. Comment down below, and then hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.